You ever wake up thinking you've finally outsmarted the world, only to realize the world's got sharper teeth than you thought? That's how it started for me. I'd inherited my granddad's old cabin tucked way back in the Blue Ridge, a spot so quiet you could hear your own thoughts echo off the trees. I figured I'd finally found peace, but what I got was a front row seat to the strangest, most exhausting land war I never asked for. It's funny, folks always say home is where the heart is. For me, it's where the silence gets loud, where the only company I crave is the breeze moving through pine needles, and the only visitors I'll tolerate are deer with more curiosity than sense. That cabin, built by my grandfather, Henry Hale, wasn't just a roof. It was a fortress, small, sure, but filled with stubbornness and history. The blueprints are still in his handwriting. He called it my peaceful retirement, but he never made it that far. Sometimes I sit out on the porch and wonder if he's out there somewhere, grinning at me for keeping up the fight. I'm a photographer, mostly landscapes. Sometimes I get paid to freeze a bit of wildness for the glossy pages of National Geographic. Sometimes I work for those nature NGOs with more hope than cash. I spend my life on the move, chasing light and weather until I run out of patience for airports and people. Then I run home to the mountains. No cell towers, no leaf blowers, nobody yelling about fence lines. Just me, a flannel shirt, and the kind of quiet that resets your soul. Now, the catch there is always a catch, isn't there? The only road to my cabin cuts right through the heart of the Silver Pines HOA. Back when my granddad first bought the land, there was nothing but rough trails and dreams. In the 90s, when they paved over the wild and called it a planned community, he got himself a legal easement signed, stamped, filed at the county, everything. That piece of paper's been my golden ticket. For decades, nobody said a word. Some thought the trail was just part of a national park. Then Karen Wells showed up. 3 months ago, she landed in that president's seat fresh out of real estate, 55 going on 110 in attitude. You know, the type she'd iron her yoga pants, tell you about curated energy, and make you feel like a stray cat tracking mud in her house. First time we met, I was rolling in with my old Jeep, dust, and bird feathers everywhere. She flagged me down like I was running moonshine. "Excuse me," she says, arms folded tight enough to strangle a bear. "Are you a resident here?" "No, ma'am. Just passing through to my cabin. I've got an easement." I even held up my laminated copy, always ready. She eyed it like I was showing her a treasure map in Klingon. "We don't allow outside traffic. This is a private community." I am aware. That's why I have written access. Been driving this road since before it had a name. She grunted something about reviewing boundaries and stomped off. I thought that was it. Rookie mistake. 2 weeks later, I come back for spring bird season prime time for warblers only to find the road chained shut, padlocked, and no access signs zip-tied to trees. Somebody even slapped fake security cameras on the branches. I could have laughed if I wasn't so mad. I hiked the rest of the way, chewing on my own frustration, and the next morning I called the sheriff. Morales came out, the only guy I've met who could be polite and fed up at the same time. We took pictures, called Karen. She rolled up in her white Jeep with a private security. Dude so fresh out of mall cop school, he probably still had the tags on his vest. She tried to hand Morales some new internal policy. He barely blinked. "Ma'am, that doesn't override a recorded easement. The county says this land's his." Karen's smile could have curdled milk, but she backed down for the moment. Morales just shook his head and told me, "You got a target on your back now. Document everything." And I did, but it wasn't enough. Not with someone like Karen. Next time I came back, the chain was gone, but the air felt heavier, like the woods themselves knew something was coming. I settled in, did the chores, prepped for the migration. That night, I let myself hope it was over. Maybe Morales scared her off, or she found someone else to harass. Sure, and maybe deer pay rent. At sunrise, I hiked out to shoot some birds. Came back hours later, lungs full of mountain air, brain full of joy until I saw my front door wide open. I never leave that door unlocked. Ever. I moved slow, real slow, slipped up to the window, and there she was. Karen. Inside my home. Khaki vest, clipboard, phone, snapping photos, rifling through my mail like she owned the place. She even opened my kitchen drawer. For a moment, I thought she'd inventory my spoons. I stepped in. What the hell do you think you're doing? She looked up cool as a cucumber. Documenting violations. Une autorise de permanente structure, illégale occupancy. You're not on the HOA rolls, so this isn't zoned residential. We're investigating squatting. I almost laughed. This is my land. I inherited it. You have no right in a Nido be here. She just stared. If you're not in the HOA, this isn't legal. We can pursue demolition, or you can submit to the board. Out. Now. She left, but not before muttering, "You're going to regret this." I called Morales right away. He came out, filed a report, asked about cameras. I had one caught every step. He told me to keep it safe and double up on security. People like her don't stop just because the law says so. He wasn't wrong. That afternoon, I drove into town for supplies. On my way back, there's a white SUV parked at the edge of my lot, empty. No sign of Karen, but up in the sky, yeah, a drone, hovering, watching. I flipped it off for good measure. Checked my security footage. Karen had been back, this time with her goon squad, taking photos, walking my property like they were putting it up for sale. I'd had enough. Sent everything to Morales, filed for a restraining order. Sheriff's office kicked it up a notch. Next time Karen came sniffing around, Morales met her at the drive. He told her, right there, in front of her muscle, "Next time you trespass, you're getting arrested." Her face when he said that, I swear, she looked like a kid told Santa wasn't coming. But people like Karen, they don't shrink, they explode. Next day, she shows up alone, no armor, just fury. She pounds on my door, tries to force her way in. I keep the chain latched. She snaps it with something heavy, storms into my living room screaming about jurisdiction and my mountain. She grabs my shirt, rips the buttons off, actually lunges at me. I stumble back, call Morales with shaking hands. He shows up in minutes, finds Karen pacing my living room. She points at me, yells, "He assaulted me." Morales just looks at her like, "Really?" My cameras caught the whole thing. 2 angles. He cuffs her on the spot while she's screaming, "I'm the intruder. I'm the hostile presence." I'm standing on my own porch, shirt half off, feeling like I just survived a tornado made of entitlement. And if you think that's where it ends, buddy, you haven't met real power junkies. Morales called me to the station later that night. Turns out, Karen had hired a private investigator, some creep from Ashavalito, spy on me, to try and dig up dirt to snap photos through my window. She'd even faked HOA documents, submitted bogus complaints, tried to buy my land out from under me using HOA money. Yeah, she forged board minutes, submitted fake votes, and planned to claim my cabin as a future HOA retreat center. You couldn't make this up if you tried. With the evidence Morales found, the DA got involved, the board started cracking, and one old board member even came clean, said Karen pressured them to sign blank sheets, which she later filled out herself. The HOA was suddenly under a full county audit, Karen sitting in a cell, spinning tales about domestic terrorists in the hills. Nobody bought it. My story made the news against my will. Now about a lawyer, Joan Trigger. She doesn't smile unless someone's paying for it, but she's sharp as barbed wire. The hearing was wild. Joan tore Karen's side apart, land records, video, audio, all the forged junk. Even Karen's emails caught her lying. Judge was no fool. Hit the gavel, sent us home. Karen 8 charges, county audit, HOA dissolved. You'd think that would be the end. But you know what power addicts do when you finally take away their toys? They go for broke. Karen tried suing me for emotional distress. The judge tossed it out with a look. The audit report was 60 pages of HOA whore embezzlement, fines for the wrong hammock color, all of it. New administrator came in, held a meeting, invited me to speak. I didn't want to, really didn't. But something in me said, you don't let people like that win. So I stood up, told the truth. how my grandfather built this place, what it means to have land that's really yours, how Karen tried to rip it away. Folks listened, some laughed, some apologized. One old Marine told a story about getting fined for flying the American flag. After that, the mood shifted. People started pushing back. The HOA's clause pulled back. My easement was reaffirmed, and Karen? She stayed in jail until her trial. She got convicted 8 counts, for years in prison, restitution, and banned from any HOA or real estate job for life. I even got civil damages, almost $2 million, which the HOA had to pay, then sued her to recover. Last I heard, she's running empowerment seminars in minimum security. If you're not laughing, you've never lived in suburbia. Funny thing, I started getting letters, people thanking me for standing up, for exposing the rot. Even got a fruit basket from family in Florida, said my story gave them the guts to fight their own HOA bully. But the part nobody knows except you know is about the map I found hidden in my granddad's cabinet. His handwriting: don't trust anyone who wants to control the road to your home. A second easement, a secret back trail. I hiked it one fall, found it still clear, still legal, just in case. So that's what I learned. Sometimes standing your ground means more than holding land. It means holding the line against folks who'd run you over for the thrill of it. And sometimes justice shows up, slow and stubborn, wearing a badge or wielding a thermos of black coffee. You want to know if karma's real? I got my porch back, my mountains quiet again, and sometimes I even teach workshops for kids who want to see what the world looks like when you slow down. Karen's story, well, let's just say she's finally learning you can't fence in everything you want. Now let me ask you, since you made it this far, where do you draw the line? When someone with a little power decides they want what's yours, do you fight? Or do you let them chip away at what makes you feel at home? Drop a comment, tell me your story, or tell me I'm crazy. Hell, just tell me if you've ever had to stare down your own Karen. Because out here, sometimes the quietest places echo the loudest lessons.
Cảm ơn tất cả các bạn đã xem video.